Welcome to US Briefing. The content of the briefing includes: our love for travel burns deeply. Oil giants search for green aviation solution. Dodgers LHP Clayton Kershaw chased in first inning of NLDS against Diamondbacks. 5 people hospitalized after shooting in Inglewood, near Los Angeles, authorities say. Red Bulls stay alive in playoff hunt with 3-0 victory over Toronto. Few British police carry guns. One was charged and hundreds handed in their permits. Our love for travel burns deeply. Oil giants search for green aviation solution. The Sydney Morning Herald. The aviation industry will need to produce 300 million tons of sustainable aviation fuel annually to meet demand for passenger journeys that are forecasted to exceed 10 billion by 2050. This was the conclusion of a panel discussion at the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference, which was attended by executives from Boeing, Airbus, French oil major TotalEnergies and Canadian biofuel producer Enercom. The panel also highlighted that only 25% of global fleets were using the most modern aircraft, which was a barrier to the faster uptake of sustainable aviation fuels. Dodgers LHP Clayton Kershaw chased in first inning of NLDS against Diamondbacks. Associated Press. Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw had a disastrous outing in Game 1 of the NL Division Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Kershaw gave up 6 runs and recorded just 1 out before being replaced by rookie Emmett Sheehan. Kershaw had never made a start in which he pitched less than 1 inning before. The Diamondbacks scored 5 runs without an out in the first inning, with Kershaw giving up a leadoff double, a single, a double, and a 3-run home run. Kershaw walked 1 batter and gave up an RBI double before being taken out of the game. 5 people hospitalized after shooting in Inglewood, near Los Angeles, authorities say. Associated Press. 5 people were hospitalized with gunshot wounds following a shooting in Inglewood, California. The condition of the victims is unknown, and it is unclear if a suspect is in custody or what led to the shooting. The Inglewood Police Department has closed several surrounding blocks at the scene. Aerial footage showed a car with shattered windows in a parking lot. Red Bulls stay alive in playoff hunt with 3-0 victory over Toronto. Associated Press. The New York Red Bulls defeated Toronto FC 3-0 to keep their playoff hopes alive. Lucas Lima Linhers scored 2 goals, with assists from Elias Manol and Omir Fernandez. Tom Barlow also scored for the Red Bulls. The victory improved New York's record against Toronto to 6-0-3 in their last 9 meetings. Toronto has now lost 6 straight matches and 16 of their last 17. The Red Bulls snapped a 3-match winless streak at home with the win. Few British police carry guns. One was charged and hundreds handed in their permits. The Sydney Morning Herald. London's Metropolitan Police Service, Met, has experienced a wave of officers refusing to carry their firearms in protest after a police officer was charged with murder for fatally shooting an unarmed black man. The officers' protest highlights tensions between the police and the public in the UK, where both police officers and the general public typically do not carry firearms. Critics argue that the small number of armed officers have too much power, while supporters argue that armed police officers deserve more legal protection given the dangerous nature of their work. The protests come amid ongoing concerns about police accountability and trust in the police force. Home Depot tracked a crime ring and found an unusual suspect. Wall Street Journal. Prosecutors say that a Florida pastor, Robert Dell, used his position as the leader of a drug recovery program to run an organized retail crime ring. Dell allegedly acted as a fence, purchasing stolen goods from thieves and reselling them for a profit. He faces charges including racketeering, conspiracy to commit racketeering, and dealing in stolen property. Dell's case highlights the challenges that retailers and law enforcement face in tackling organized retail crime. Collaborations between the parties can take years to connect individual thefts to larger organizations or groups. As a result, retailers are dedicating more resources to their own investigations into retail crime. They are also partnering with police and resale platforms to prevent thieves from profiting from stolen goods. Prosecutors around the U.S. have said that they are stepping up efforts to target fences. The retail industry suffered $112.1 billion in losses from theft and lost or damaged goods in 2022. Retailers are exploring ways to address continuing theft problems, such as permanently closing stores targeted by criminals and locking up more items to deter theft. What the papers say, October 8. The Independent. The nation's Sunday papers are dominated by the fresh conflict between Hamas and Israel. Several papers report on the hundreds of deaths and Israeli hostages taken after Hamas launched a surprise attack against Israel. The Observer, Sunday Express, and the Sunday Times dubbed the events Israel's 9/11 moment. The Independent also features coverage of the conflict on its front page. The Mail on Sunday leads with a harrowing account from one of the people kidnapped in the attack. In other news, Sir Keir Starmer unveils his £1.5 billion plan to save the NHS, according to the Sunday People. The fallout of an alleged plot to kidnap and murder Holly Willoughby has helped heal the rift between Willoughby and former co-host Philip Schofield, according to the Sunday Mirror. The Sun on Sunday reports that TV star David Walliams has claimed in high court documents that he has suffered suicidal thoughts after being dropped from Britain's Got Talent. The Daily Star Sunday says that Sir Patrick Stewart has bought a haunted house in Los Angeles. Michael Banalek, Britain's greatest post-war amateur golfer, dies at 88. New York Times. Michael Banalek, the British amateur golfer, has died at the age of 88 in St Andrews, Scotland. Banalek claimed 5 amateur championship and 5 English amateur championship titles in the 1960s, and played in the Open Championship 13 times, twice winning the lowest scoring amateur prize. He was captain of Britain and Ireland's Walker Cup team in 1969 and 1971, when the side ended a 33-year losing streak against the US. After his playing career, Banalek served as secretary of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club between 1983 and 1999, the longest tenure of any secretary, and oversaw significant changes to the game, such as televising the Open and introducing advertising. He was knighted in 1998 and died in a hospice on September 26. Ladies and gentlemen, 6 Doctor here, your resident observer from the 6 Degrees world, bringing you the latest news from across the multiverse. Let's dive right in, shall we? In the world of aviation, it seems like our love for travel is burning bright, but so is the need for sustainable solutions. The panel discussion at the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference revealed that the aviation industry will need to produce 300 million tons of sustainable aviation fuel annually by 2050 to meet the growing demand. Only 25% of global fleets are currently using the most modern aircraft, which is a barrier to the faster adoption of sustainable aviation fuels. Looks like we need to take off with some green innovation. Speaking of things taking off, Los Angeles Dodgers pitcher Clayton Kershaw had quite the crash landing in Game 1 of the NL Division Series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He was chased out of the game after giving up 6 runs and recording just 1 out. It was a historic, or should I say hysterical, outing for Kershaw, as he had never made a start in which he pitched less than 1 inning before. Ouch! It seems like the Diamondbacks were hitting home runs while Kershaw was hitting the showers. Moving on to some serious news, a shooting in Inglewood, California left 5 people hospitalized with gunshot wounds. The details are still unclear, but the Inglewood Police Department has closed off several surrounding blocks at the scene. Aerial footage showed a car with shattered windows in a parking lot. Let's hope the victims recover quickly, and the perpetrators are brought to justice. In the world of sports, the New York Red Bulls defeated Toronto FC 3-0, keeping their playoff hopes alive. Lucas Lima Linhurst scored 2 goals, with assists from Elias Manol and Omir Fernandez. Tom Barlow also added a goal for the Red Bulls. This victory improved their record against Toronto to 6-0-3 in their last 9 meetings. On the other hand, Toronto has been struggling, losing 6 straight matches and 16 of their last 17. Looks like the Red Bulls are charging their way into the playoffs. Now, let's talk about a different kind of firepower. The Metropolitan Police Service in London has been dealing with some serious tensions between the police and the public. After a police officer was charged with murder for shooting an unarmed black man, a wave of officers has refused to carry firearms in protest. This highlights ongoing concerns about police accountability and trust in the police force. It's a complex issue, with arguments on both sides, but one thing's for sure, it's time for some serious dialogue and reform. In a surprising turn of events, a Florida pastor has been charged with running an organized retail crime ring. Robert Dell allegedly used his position as the leader of a drug recovery program to purchase stolen goods from thieves and resell them for a profit. This case sheds light on the challenges faced by retailers and law enforcement when it comes to tackling organized retail crime. Retailers are dedicating more resources to their own investigations and partnering with police and resale platforms to prevent thieves from profiting from stolen goods. Looks like the retail industry is fighting back. Now, let's take a look at what the papers have to say. The Sunday papers are dominated by the fresh conflict between Hamas and Israel, with several papers reporting on the hundreds of deaths and Israeli hostages taken. The Independent also features coverage of the conflict on its front page, while the Mail on Sunday leads with a harrowing account from one of the people kidnapped in the attack. In other news, Sir Keir Starmer unveils his £1.5 billion plan to save the NHS, and the fallout of an alleged plot to kidnap and murder Holly Willoughby has helped heal the rift between her and former co-host Philip Schofield. And apparently, TV star David Walliams has claimed in court documents that he has suffered suicidal thoughts after being dropped from Britain's Got Talent. Finally, Sir Patrick Stewart has bought a haunted house in Los Angeles. Who you gonna call? And now, let's end on a bittersweet note. Michael Banalek, Britain's greatest post-war amateur golfer, has passed away at the age of 88. Banalek had an illustrious career, claiming multiple championship titles and captaining the Walker Cup team to victory against the U.S. After retiring from playing, he served as secretary of the Royal and Ancient Golf Club and made significant contributions to the sport. Sir Michael Banalek, you will be missed, but your legacy will continue to inspire golfers around the world. That's all the news for today, folks. Remember, the world is a diverse and often unpredictable place, so let's keep our minds open and our sense of humor intact. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts and questions. What do you make of these news stories? Share your ideas, and let's have a lively discussion. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.